Hi, I'm John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy, with another Global Real Estate School podcast. Welcome to the podcast. This is John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy. We are on episode 017, and we're going to kind of dive into the world of agency on the next few podcasts. Agency is a big topic in the real estate community, and literally every state has their own agency laws and how real estate agents can work under the agency laws. There are disclosure obligations in most states regarding agency, and in a lot of situations, buyers and sellers really have a difficult time understanding this whole concept or world of agency. So today's definition is called ostensible agency. That's right, ostensible agency. It is spelled Ostensible, ostensible agency. It's kind of like one of those words I learned in college, which was post-cognitive dissonance. I spent 5 years, I crammed 4 years of college into 5. And, I probably remember a few things from college. I think I learned a lot, but I remember a few things. And one of the words or definitions I always remembered from marketing was post-cognitive dissonance, which is basically buyer's remorse. And I always loved the word ostensible agency from my real estate studies early on as I went through pre-license course. And an ostensible agency is really an agency that's created through the actions, or it is implied through your actions or implications as a real estate agent. And there's lots of various scenarios where ostensible agency could come about. The scenario I like to use when I'm teaching live real estate courses is that an ostensible agency can arise a lot of times through the actions of a real estate agent when they are working with a buyer. Now, in the typical real estate transaction, you have a seller, an agent, and a buyer. Now, years ago, most examples would be the agent would be working for the seller, that would be the client, and the buyer would be considered a third party. Well, as the years progressed and as we had changes come about throughout the real estate industry, and of course lots of litigation, because buyers actually thought in many examples or situations that the agent was their agent. They were doing all of these things for them as a buyer. And as lawsuits would come about, the court system would determine that, wait a minute, the agent who showed you that house was actually employed through the seller as an agent of the seller, or a subagent through the seller or the seller's agent, and therefore you, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, were just a third party. This agent has no obligations to the problems you've developed. And buyer's agency came about because of these types of situations. And so through all of that, we now have this world of agency and buyer's agency. And so ostensible agency is this creation of an agency through the actions or the implications from the agent. So in other words, if you are doing things for a buyer and you have never entered into a buyer's agency agreement, but the buyer sees all of this work you are doing for them, they in turn may think that you are their agent, and through your actions as an agent, you have created this ostensible agency. For the exam, just remember this. Ostensible agency is an agency that's created out of implication or through the actions from one party, making the other party believe or think that they are their agent. Thank you for listening to the podcast for Global Real Estate School. I'm John Mayfield, the Real Estate Tech Guy. Go out and make it a great day.